City boy, city boy.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's your boy, Nate the Great, back with another video. And you know we got to go ahead and do Monday Night Raw review. All right? Triple H, it is time to pack it up. Triple H, it is time to put the fries in the motherfucking bag. It's time. It's over. I am not going to settle for the bullshit any longer. Will I go out on a limb to say that this show was absolutely gobsmackingly awful? No, I will not. What I will go out of my way to say is that this show was so fucking boring. So fucking boring. Sure, we had a world title change with Gunther winning and going over on Jay, and that's spectacular. I don't know, who cares? Gunther is still buried. He's still tapped out to Jey Uso, so him winning this does not matter, especially when you told the story that Jey Uso, he's just been a straight up workhorse this past week. He's had like 4 matches in this past week, right? In 7 days, this is his 4th match, so it doesn't really count because he had to go, like, you know what I mean? Like, that's the story they told. So it's not even like this victory should mean anything, especially when Jay took him to the fucking, like, he took Gunther to the very fucking limit once again. Besides that, man, this show was like boring. The match between them, boring. We had John Cena on the show tonight, but once again, this is what he said it in his promo. He has 18 days left, 18 dates, I should say, left on this run, and we're wasting it on a Monday Night Raw with just a little bullshit 10-15 minute promo match or promo segment with CM Punk. We're wasting John Cena's last title reign, his final run in the WWE. We are wasting one of his dates with a bullshit 15-minute little promo segment with CM Punk. Still don't know how everybody else feels about his title and all his, you know, how he's doing, how he plans on ruining wrestling, this, that, and the other. We still don't even know what that means. All right. All he said is that he wants to leave with the championship, yet he continues to come back. All right. We already went over this. We already discussed this. It doesn't make sense. It does not make sense that he continues to come back, even though he says he wants to leave with the championship. What's the point in defending it? What's the point in coming back at all, ever, if all you wanted to do was leave with the championship and you believe that that will ruin wrestling? Shit makes no sense, man. He hasn't done anything. He doesn't do anything on a week-to-week basis that'll move towards his goal of ruining wrestling. He comes out, he gets fucking cross-roaded, RKO'd, cuts a little bullshit promo. No backstage segments. No vignettes. No video packages. No actual storyline that's showing us what John Cena is actually up to when he says that he plans on ruining wrestling. None of that. We get none of that. Just another fucking promo. And you would think that having CM Punk out there to cut a promo with John Cena to challenge him for a title match, you would think that this would be a good or even great segment, but it wasn't. It was mid to below mid, because none of this makes sense, and you haven't made us care. Outside of the fact that this is John Cena, how can we care? And then we have Seth Rollins and his... Pack it up. Pack the fucking faction up already, man. Drop them in the garbage. You mean to tell me Seth Rollins is going to hang on? we're gonna jump into this. We're gonna jump into the review, and then we'll go over everything that went down. All right. I came into this a little bit late, like 5 minutes late to tuning into Raw, but who really cares, right? What did I miss? A recap of Money in the Bank, the shittiest pay-per-view of the year so far, the shittiest pay-per-view of the last couple of years, in my opinion, right? What else did we get? What else did we get? Fucking Michael Cole telling us that Pat McAfee's off doing something more important, right? That's what we got. That's what I missed. All right. So let's go ahead and jump into the first segment. We get John Cena out there cutting a promo. All right. He cuts a promo. He basically says that the audience, their voices don't matter. The fact that R-Truth's back has nothing to do with the audience and all this, that, and the other. Right. This is basically Triple H saying, like, no, you didn't. This was my decision. I made the right decision. I always make the right decisions. This is a work. Right. Like, and real quick, before I hop into that shit, was not a work. Carlito, Sarah Logan, you know what I'm saying? The little Valhalla bitch. They all got released last week. And two other people that we don't even know about also got released last week. And so R-Truth was on that list. Let's not sit here and try to act like Triple H is some kind of big brain who was able to stir up that kind of tension within a week. Because if he could do that, why the fuck is every single week a fucking shit show? Why is if you can build up and get the big pop that R-Truth comes back and all this and it's just a part of the show, then why the fuck why are the rest of these shows straight ass? Explain that one to me. But John Cena's basically saying that, you know, the fans had nothing to do with it. And you know, he has 18 days left, and he's going to take his championship. He's going to ruin wrestling and all this, right? The regular shit. Here comes CM Punk. All right. Look in my eye. What do you see? Right? CM Punk goes ahead and he comes out. He basically tells John Cena, oh, well, you know, how the tables have turned. Mr. Goody Two Shoes is now talking about ruining wrestling, right? The Boy Scout, he said the Boy Scout is talking about he's gonna ruin wrestling, right? He's not here to shill for TKO or the WWE or anything like that. He's here to speak for the people, all right? And basically CM Punk says that, you know, the championship that Cena has corrupted him. He had the goal when he came back of getting that championship, but he knows what the championship and having the championship does to people, this, that, and the other, right? This promo was pretty boring, in my opinion, all right? At the end of it, he basically asked for a fight with John Cena, and he wants the championship. John Cena said that he's going to have to follow him to Saudi Arabia, and they're going to set it up at Night of Champions, all right? They go ahead and pretty much agree. We hear Seth Rollins' music. Seth Rollins steps out onto the ramp with his two jackasses and fucking Paul Heyman, his seal. Seth Rollins out there with Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker looking like a dick and balls. These motherfuckers come out there and they just stand at the top of the ramp. They just stand at the top of the ramp while Seth Rollins is holding up his Cash App branded briefcase. And that's it. The music plays. Michael Cole's like, just a reminder that Seth Rollins, he can cash in at any time. All right, hold on. So we got John Cena, a SmackDown superstar, coming on to Raw. All right, because John Cena is a SmackDown superstar technically since he has the SmackDown Championship. Unless we're going to switch Gunther over to SmackDown and he starts defending that championship over there. Whatever, right? But I don't think that's what's going to happen here. So somebody's going to have to explain to me how Seth Rollins is CM Punk going to be going over to SmackDown to keep this feud going? Is Seth Rollins going to go over to SmackDown to keep this feud going? because it seems like Seth Rollins has his eyes on the WWE Championship as opposed to the World Heavyweight Championship, the title of his brand. I'm not saying that, you can't, because you can, submit the Money in the Bank for any championship that you want. I do know this. I understand this. So if you want to go and go over to the other brand and try to go for that championship, you are well within your rights as the Money in the Bank winner to do so. But what happens to Raw if all this shit goes down? Like, so you mean tell me CM Punk's not going to be on Raw, or Seth Rollins not going to be on Raw, or maybe they're just going to be on both shows? This stuff has to be explained. Why is Seth Rollins out there just laughing like a jackass? All right. But it's not explained. We just move on to a match between Chad Gable and AJ Styles. And I don't know if you cared about this match. I definitely didn't care about this match. AJ Styles won this match because Chad Gable is a jobber, unless he's an El Grande Americano for some reason. And then we move the fuck on. All right. We got Roxanne Perez and Liv Morgan. They're backstage talking shit to each other, basically. Not really. Roxanne is basically trying to get on Liv Morgan's good side, saying, hey, I'll have your back in this match. Liv Morgan's telling her, I'll stay out of my way and I'll stay out of yours, or whatever. Roxanne says, let the best woman win. Liv Morgan says, don't worry, I will. And then we move the fuck on, because next up we have the Queen of the Ring match, all right, between Roxanne Perez, Liv Morgan, Rhea Ripley, and Kairi Sane. This feels like a rematch. You know what I mean? Like this whole, I know it's technically not a rematch, but we've seen all these women just in the past couple of weeks in matches with each other, and they're all in, you know what I mean? Like, so it just felt like a big ass rematch. So I didn't really care about this match. It wasn't a bad match, in my opinion. There was a couple of bullshit things, like towards the finish of the match, Rhea Ripley's pinning Liv Morgan. Raquel Rodriguez pulls Rhea Ripley out the ring, right? And Kairi Sane is standing up on the damn ring post at the top of the turnbuckle on the ring post. She's standing up there for like 10 seconds waiting for her spot to jump on Rhea Ripley and Raquel, right? And whole time they're kind of like, waiting on Kairi. Kairi's kind of like hesitating a little bit, and then she finally jumps and does the crossbody, and then she jumps back into the ring to hit the insane elbow on a down Liv Morgan, who is still down from a riptide that Rhea Ripley hit her with. And then Roxanne Perez, who was outside of the ring just patiently waiting this entire time, she dives in right after Kairi Sane hits the insane elbow and goes for the pin on Liv Morgan. She rolls up Kairi Sane, and 1, 2, 3, Roxanne Perez moves on in the Queen of the Ring tournament. All right. Now, I'm not necessarily a big fan of these of the King and the Queen of the Ring being fatal four ways. I like the traditional way. I like the traditional style of one-on-one matches, because then it really feels like they earned that title of King of the Ring. But I'm not 100%. I'm not really opposed to it either. I guess I'd rather they just get that shit over with, because that's what they want to do anyways. That's why they did it like this. They just want to get it over within a couple of weeks, because Night of Champions is in just a couple weeks. You know what I mean? So it is what it is. We move on. Nikki Bella, she's backstage introducing herself to all the superstars and all that. She's hugging on Maxine Dupree and Natalia, and I think Becky Lynch came out there and said something to her, but I don't really remember. I wasn't really paying attention to the segment. I don't care that Nikki Bella is back. I don't. Not even a little bit. Not even in the slightest. All right. But Becky Lynch, she goes out there next. She cuts a promo. She basically says that Lyra almost killed her. Lyra really hurt her shoulder bad, which is why she was telling Lyra to put the title around her waist at Money in the Bank. And then Lyra just snapped and tried to kill her. So she wants an apology, and she wants Lyra to come out there and raise her hand the right way. Lyra comes out, her shoulders cocked, look like she's ready to beat some ass. Then Bayley attacks Becky right? Bayley just out of nowhere attacks Becky Lynch from behind, starts whipping her ass, just laying the absolute smacketh down on that ass. All right. And then Becky Lynch tries to run out of the ring. Lyra tosses her back in the ring to continue the ass whipping that she is currently receiving. And then that was pretty much that segment. All right. Bayley's back. That's cool, I guess. I don't care. We move on. All right. After this whole little debacle, this whole situation, Michael Cole and Wade Barrett, they're out there. I don't remember exactly what they were talking about. I'm pretty sure they were trying to sell me something, so I didn't. I was tuning out what they were talking about. But Ron Killings, all right, Mr. R-Truth, making his glorious return once again, right? You know, motherfuckers was acting like he was gone for like 3 years when they popped for him at Money in the Bank. That nigga was gone for the week. That nigga, like, he just didn't show up for SmackDown. Like, that nigga was there all week long. You know what I mean? But whatever. You know, he jumps on he's like on the announce table. He has the hood on, he takes the hood off, and he's about to cut a promo. And he cuts a pretty good promo, in my opinion. Right? He basically says that, you know, don't let anyone ever tell you that your voices don't matter. He's here because the people wanted him there, and that, you know, they do have the power, you know, alluding to John Cena's earlier promo when he told the people that they didn't have any power in that. You know, R-Truth returning had nothing to do with him, or nothing to do with the people, you know, absolutely revolting online. So yeah, he said that. And then he said, basically that, you know, he loves R-Truth. Everybody loves R-Truth, but R-Truth, he can be a little, you know, a little too funny sometimes. R-Truth can be too emotional or too forgiving sometimes. So he's no longer R-Truth. Now he's Ron Killings, right? And he says, you know, he asked, he was like, is R-Truth a gimmick? You know, the truth, because he says, the truth has set me free, right? Is R-Truth a gimmick? And I'm going to show you, right? He pulls out some scissors. I was like, oh shit, he's about to do the chop. I seen it coming because, you know, all his hair was sectioned off and stuff like that. So I figured, oh shit, he's about to do the chop. He's about to do the big chop. Now, anybody who's not, you know, a dreadhead or black, you know, and knowing what the big chop is, that's when you take off all your dreads, right? That's when you revert back, go back to the fade, right? He snips off his dreads. You know, they were all in sections or whatever already, so it was pretty easy for him to do. He snips them all off, and that was that, right? So I'm excited to see what comes next to this. All right, obviously R-Truth is going to get a push, because the people at TKO, you got to understand how bad this looks on Triple H, that he let So not only did he let R-Truth go, right? He let R-Truth go, and the people absolutely lost their shit. I was highly upset about it, right? Like, obviously I talked about it in that video. Like, on one hand, I get it. R-Truth is 53 years old, but on the other hand, R-Truth is still more talented than literally 90% of that roster, because most of the roster is ass. So if R-Truth is still one of the most talented in that top 10% of talent, it makes no sense, whatever age he is, to let him go. It just doesn't make any sense, right? Whatever number he's talking about, you keep him because he's in that top 10%. That's just what you do. It just makes sense. So not only did Triple H, you know, fuck up on that, he also kept him as a comedy jobber, you know, when he's supposed to be, you know, the great talent guy. You know, he just knows this wrestling stuff. He just gets it. He just understands it. He gets it better than anyone else. But he doesn't get that R-Truth, Ron Killings, K-Quick. He doesn't understand that he's way more talented than just being a comedy jobber guy. Yeah, he is very, you know, he's very funny. He can be very, very funny. But he also can be very serious, and he can cut really good promos, and he can go in the ring. He can still go in the ring, and he's a great character worker. That's what he is. He's an amazing character worker. That's why he was able to get the R-Truth character over so hard, right? There's been hundreds of comedy jobbers throughout the history of WWE. And I'm not saying that R-Truth is necessarily the top one, but you're not going to sit here and try to tell me that he's not in at least the top 5, top 10 of comedy acts in the WWE of all time. You're not going to sit here and try to tell me that. All right. In my personal opinion, he's top 3. You got Kurt Angle, right? R-Truth and Santino, right? And obviously The Rock, right? Like you got that's my Mount Rushmore of comedy, right? Like, so this makes Triple H look like an absolute jackass, right? Like, like you let go of this guy that everybody is saying is so fucking good. You let go of this guy, he went fucking crazy. We told you to hit a number, and you damn near nuked the company, right? Like Triple H this looks bad on Triple H. So now we got to see what the fuck comes next of this, because R-Truth has to get a push now. He has to change up his character now. They have no choice but to give that to him now, and whatever number he's talking about, because they decided to bring him back. Right? They didn't stand on their 10 toes about it, or about the release. They caved to the fan backlash, like they always do. Right? Even though the internet ain't real and all this extra shit. But the fan backlash online and in congruence with the fan backlash, we want truth chants all last week. That means something. Right? That really means something when it actually hits. All right. The internet got real then, didn't it? Triple H. Right. So there was that. R-Truth got to cut a promo. I'm excited to see what Ron Killings has up in store for us before he officially walks away and goes on his indie run, as he fucking should, get his money. Right. So next up, we got Dom, Finn, and JD backstage. Dom, he's I forget what he asked somebody. Finn actually walked up to Dom and he asked Dom first. He was like, "Hey, I just thought it was kind of weird that you were in this, King of the Ring match and I'm not, right?" And Dom was basically like, "Yeah, well, you kind of got your chance with the, with the whole Money in the Bank situation. That didn't necessarily work out, so I figured you wouldn't mind if I, stepped in to represent the Judgment Day on this one. I hope you're not upset about that." And then, obviously Finn is upset about this, but he's like, "Oh, no, it's all good. I'm right behind you, buddy. I'm, we're doing the same shit, right?" Roxanne comes up, everybody's congratulating Roxanne. Then Liv Morgan walks up. She's absolutely pissed. Roxanne's like, "Why are you so mad? I helped you out. I didn't let Kyrie pin you." I thought that was kind of funny. She was like, "I didn't let Kyrie pin you." Yeah, because you snatched up Kyrie and took the pin. Like, you know what I mean? Like, but I thought that was a pretty good line, if I do say so myself. She was like, I didn't let Kyrie pin you. Like, so I don't even know why you're mad. Right? And she's like, "Oh, is that what you did?" Right? So, and then that was that. So we have some more tension here. Whatever. I still don't care about the storyline. It's literally the same storyline as the Rhea Ripley one. Just a tweak here and a tweak there, but it's the same exact storyline because that's all we get. We get that shit on repeat. So next up, we got Seth's little faction backstage. Seth is basically hyping up Braun Breaker. And look, here's the thing. Put the fucking fries in the bag. All right? It's over with. I'm tired of it. I'm done. I'm over this shit already. You got Braun Breaker out here barking like the old yeller. Braun Breaker has nothing to say but oh my goodness. When Braun Breaker hit that bark, you could just tell, like, he just knows that he's meant for so much more than this shit. Right? Like, you could just tell, like, he's just like, why am I here right now? Right? This shit makes no sense. They're backstage wasting time. They're wasting time. This is a waste of fucking time. This whole thing is a waste of time. How do I know it's a waste of time? Because next up, we got Penta, Dom, Braun Breaker, and Sami Zayn in the first round of the King of the Ring tournament. All right? And how this match ends up is Braun Breaker is, I think he hit, I believe it was Penta with the spear, right? You know, the little run around the ring spear. And LA Knight comes out of nowhere and you know, also SmackDown superstar. And he takes out fucking Braun Breaker, hits him with a BFT. And then Sami Zayn kind of takes, you know, advantage of that, hits Dom, you know, with his little signature set and hits him with I think the Blue Thunder Bomb or some shit like that, ends up picking up the pin over Dom. So that whole little segment, everything that just happened with Seth Rollins coming back there and talking and giving his pep talk to Braun Breaker just so he could lose in the next segment, right? Just so he could fucking lose. Just pack it up. Pack this shit up. And then we have AJ Styles. He gets an interview where he basically just says that, you know, Seth Rollins threatened him. He doesn't feel good about that. He doesn't, you know, that doesn't sit well with him, this, that, and the other. So he's going to go say something to them. That never comes back up. Then Kathy Kelly walks over to the New Day, and the New Day, she's like, hey, why aren't you, you know, defending the tag team championships? They're like, hey, you know, we're waiting on the right guys. You know what I mean? Like, as far as we're concerned, everybody in this tag team division right now is in the middle of the pack. We're waiting on that true number one contender. And if anything that the fucking New Day has ever said, if they've never said some true shit, they just said some true shit right there. All right. I don't give a fuck. All right. I mean, don't get me wrong. I want to see the New Day as champions fighting, if not on a weekly basis, bi-weekly at every pay-per-view, defending their championships. But look at the champions, like look at the tag teams on Raw. You got the Creed brothers, and you have the War Raiders, the War Jobbers, the Job Raiders, right? Like, that's who you have. You don't really have an actual deep tag team division on Raw. You just don't. At least on SmackDown, you have 5-6 teams. On Raw, you only have 3-4 teams. So it's like, what do you want us to do? You want us to keep fighting the same motherfuckers over and over again? If they you know, prove that that's what they need to do, you know, if they do what they got to do, then yeah, let's do it. But everybody sucks right now. The motherfucker spoke truth. All right, so we move on. We get yet another because, you know, just in case you missed it on Saturday, you know, Triple H has to remind us again that WrestleMania will be in Vegas yet again. All right. Then Asuka got like a video package. I don't know if she's returning or some shit like that. I wasn't really paying attention. Nikki Bella comes out next up. She cuts a promo. This promo was basically just a, you know, I'm glad to be back promo. You know, everybody backstage, you know, there's so much great competition backstage. You know, we have Women's Evolution coming up. And ever since the first Women's Evolution pay-per-view, a lot has changed, right? The women have just gotten so much better. And I guess she brings up a couple people, but she doesn't bring up Liv Morgan. So Liv Morgan comes out and she's mad, all right? She's like, hey, how can you bring up, you know, all this talent and this, that, and the other without bringing up Liv Morgan? I'm the best, you know, I was the champion all last year, right? I'm the first and only crown jewel champion, history break, you know, record breaking with the tag team champions, right? So she's saying all this, right? And Nikki Bella's like, you know, hey, yo, chill. You know what I mean? Like, I just because I didn't bring you up doesn't mean like I meant anything by it. Liv Morgan, she's talked some more shit, basically says to Nikki Bella, like, hey, you know, I got, you know, everything that you don't have, you know, I got, like, you know, my man, I got this, that, and the other, I got a title, I got a man, or whatever, right? And Nikki Bella was like, hey, yeah, so I'm trying to figure out what's going on with, you know, Roxanne, you know, like if your man is yours or if he's Roxanne's or whatever, right? Just once again proving that, yes, we are in the same storyline as we were last year. Like, we are in that same storyline. All right. But that's basically what this segment was. All right. They talk a little shit to each other. Liv ends up hitting the oblivion on Nikki Bella after talking some shit to her. And then we move the fuck on. And we're at the main event now. And the main event is basically Jey Uso versus Gunther for the World Heavyweight Championship. All right. Jey Uso, he makes his entrance with his son. All right. He's out there yeeting with random kids still. Right. Wade Barrett talking about some, this is the kind of audience reaction that you can't manufacture, when Jey Uso is one of, if not the most manufactured champions of the last decade, at least, right? Like, this motherfucker is so manufactured that it's crazy. All right. This whole thing is manufactured. All right. But this match was a whatever match. All right. It like this whole the whole thing with entrances, commercials, and all that shit, it took about 30 minutes. All right. So the way the match ended was that they basically were just rolling around. All right. That was the last, the ending sequence of the match. Right. It was them rolling around on the ground, putting each other in chokeholds. All right, until Gunther finally grabbed his chokehold in and locked it in tight, and then Jey Uso passed out. Jey Uso, rolls out of the ring. Gunther obviously wins. All right, he's the World Heavyweight Champion once again, but it doesn't matter because Gunther is still buried. All right, it doesn't matter. Gunther is still buried. He still tapped out in 8 seconds to Jey Uso in a match that only took like 10 minutes. And then it took you 30 minutes to whip Jey Uso, even though Jey Uso just had a whole slew of matches in this last week. This is like his 4th match in the last week, right? So not only is this Jey Uso's 4th match in the last week, not only did he get hit with like 8 tsunamis last week, Braun Breaker spears like twice, was just in a tag team match where he got his ass whipped for like 20 minutes of the match. Like, after all that, then it takes you 30 minutes to whip on Jey Uso. And you're supposed to be the best in the ring. You're supposed to be the absolute best. When Jey Uso, after all this, took you to the fucking limit. Yet again, took you to the limit. And it took him multiple attempts for him to tap out to your shit, your finisher. All he had to do was put you in it once and you tapped out. So, Gunther's still buried. And then at the end of this, instead of doing the logical thing, which would be to have Seth Rollins come out after this absolute fucking slugfest, where these two guys just took each other to the damn limits. All right. Gunther's out there tired, beat up, hurt. The logical thing to do is for Seth Rollins and his Goonies to come out and beat Gunther over the dome piece with the fucking briefcase. And then from there, have his goons hit 8 tsunamis, multiple spears, beat the dog shit out of Gunther. And then cash in, hit your stomp, maybe hit another one for good measure, and then pin that motherfucker. So that way you make Gunther look very strong, right? It's going to take all of this shit, right? Because just having Seth Rollins come out there and stomp Gunther, cash in and just that, right? Beat him over, No, we had to beat him with a briefcase. We had to hit him with 8 tsunamis, multiple spears. We had to hit this motherfucker, all right? And I had to give him multiple stomps so we could make sure this motherfucker was down. That's how you protect Gunther. But no, we don't get that, all right? We don't get that. Instead, we're going to have Seth Rollins actually legitimately hanging on to this title. All right, to this briefcase, when it makes 0 sense for his character. You got LA Knight, who this shit would actually make sense for his character to be somebody who would hold the briefcase for a little while and to choose his moment properly. But this was the best moment possible for Seth Rollins, and it was just on the first night of him having her, or the second technical night, right? Because he could have also pinned Jey Uso or John Cena after the main event. Like, he literally could have just taken it then and there. But no. Logically, since he's been crying about having the World Heavyweight Championship and all the power that it gives, it only logically makes sense that he doesn't go and try to get it at the earliest moment's notice. This show makes no sense, man. And I'm done. I'm fucking done. Triple H, pack it the fuck up. You suck at your job. You let R-Truth go. Then you didn't even have the balls to stand on it. So you brought him back. Now you gotta fucking book R-Truth like a freaking genius, like a god. All right? Like you have to. Because if you don't, then you might lose your damn job before this little 18-month comes up. This shit looks horrible on Triple H. This episode was boring as fuck. Like I said, it wasn't bad necessarily, but it was boring because nothing happened. Nothing that I care about actually happened tonight. All right. We got John Cena and yet another appearance. All right. Where he's just out there speaking words. He's not actually putting in effort. All right. And I'm not saying that this is all on John Cena. Obviously it's not. All right. This is majority on Triple H, I should say. 95 to 99% of this is on Triple H because Triple H, he has the pen. He's the one that can say, hey, I want to do this with John Cena. Since we're going to have you only for this many days, I want you to do this amount of things throughout the show whenever you do show up. I want to have you show up with these people. I want you to have you dialogue with these people. I want to shoot a video package here. I want to shoot a promo over here. All right. I need you to be here. Like, since this is your last year, we're going to expose the shit out of you. Got to. Especially since there's going to be multiple weeks in between the shows that you're actually going to be here. When you're here, you're going to work. You're not going to go out there for fucking 10, 15 minutes, cut a little bitch promo, and then just move on. That's not how this is going to work. But that's what we're getting. Because this is Triple H's era. And Triple H is fucking cooking. Triple H is cooking up a crock pot of shit. Let me know what y'all thought about this show down in the comments below. All right. I give this show a 3 out of 10. All right. I'll give this show a 3 out of 10. Because like I said, it wasn't bad, but it was boring as fuck. All right. Nothing happened in this show of consequence. And if it's boring and I don't care about it, how can I give it anything higher than a higher rating than that? All right. So yes, a 3 out of 10. That's what I'm giving this show. Like and subscribe if you want to hear some more. And this has been your boy, Nate the Great, back with another video. And I'll see you in the next one. Peace.